Okay, good morning. Today we are going to look at systems by graphing. Let me fix this here. Okay, so okay, so uh, a big part of this is y equals mx plus b, y-intercept form of an equation. So if we can graph these two equations and find out where they intersect, that would be the solution to those two equations. So just a reminder, when we put an equation in y-intercept form, the number next to the m is the slope, and the number next to the number all by itself is the y-intercept. Okay, so in this first equation that we have here, x minus y equals 2. I have to solve for y to get that y alone, and then I'll know my slope and my y-intercept. So I'm going to subtract x from both sides. That leaves me with not just a y, but I got to bring down that negative, and that's equal to 2 minus x. Okay, now to get rid of that negative, I can multiply or divide everything by -1, and I'll divide everything by -1, so that would give me y equals 2 divided by -1 is -2, and negative x divided by -1 would be a positive x. Okay, so that would leave us with a slope. Oops, I forgot my x. X is important. Okay, so that'll leave me a slope of, remember the slope is the number next to the x, that'd be 1, and the y-intercept is going to be this -2 here. Okay, so I'd like to start with my y-intercept, so that -2 goes there, and the slope is up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, like that. Okay, so it's going to look something like that. All right, so that's one of the two equations that has been graphed. Graph the other one, and we're going to look at where they intercept. Okay, let's draw a line down the middle here. Okay, so the second equation is x plus y equals 8. And again, we're working to get our y alone to get his y-intercept form. So I'm going to subtract x here, subtract x here. That leaves me with y equals 8 minus x. Okay, and this one was only one step. Our y is now alone. Okay, so in this case, the y-intercept, the number by itself, is going to be 8. And the slope is the number next to the x. And if there is no number next to the x, then that means it would be a 1. So not just a 1, it would be a -1. Okay, so we go up to here to 8. And then now we're going, instead of up 1, forward 1, we can go down 1, forward 1, down 1, forward 1. Okay, and then I'm going to see right where they intersect, which is right there. And that point would be x is 7 and y is 3. Okay. So that should be our solution if I did everything right. So let's just kind of plug that into both equations. So the first equation was x minus y equals 2. That would be 7 minus 3. Oh, whoops, I wrote that wrong. Okay, that's not a 7, that's a 5 there. My bad. Okay, let me erase that. Start over again. Okay, that's why we check our work. If I didn't check my work, I would have got that wrong. So that's a 5, 3. So if I back up here and plug in my 5, minus 3, that's equal to 2. Okay, so that does work out. Okay, and just for clarity, let's plug that into the other equation too. Okay, so the other equation was x plus y equals 8. And I can see right away by looking at those two numbers that that is going to be correct. So x plus y equals 8. And I've got a 5 and a 3. So 5 plus 3 does equal 8. Okay. All right. I'm going to look at another example, a little bit more difficult, not straightforward, solving for y. But if you think that you understand this, then you can go ahead and jump right to the Math Excel portion of this. If you need to see another example, just stick around and I'm going to do one more. Okay, I'm going to do one that's a little bit more difficult than this one. Okay, all right. All right, so we notice our first equation is already in y-intercept form. Y equals negative 3x minus 6. Okay, so I like to start with the y-intercept first. So here the y-intercept is negative 6. So I'm going to put my point there. And keep in mind, the only reason I can go straight to the y-intercept and the slope is because it's in y-intercept form. The y is already alone. So I've got a y-intercept of negative 6. And my slope is the number next to the x. In this case, that would be a negative 3. Okay. And so a negative 3 slope means either rise negative 3, run 1, or it means rise positive 3, but run negative 1. Both of those would be a negative 3 slope. So in the first case, we would go down 3, forward 1 right there. But that also means I could go up 3, backwards 1 right there. Up 3, backwards 1 right there. Okay, so that would give us a... so our line would look like that, except straighter. Okay, so the other equation, I'm going to up a little room here. The other equation is going to take a little bit more work, but it doesn't look like a lot more work here. So we've got to solve for y in this case. Okay. So 7x plus y equals negative 14. Okay, so I'm going to subtract x from both sides. And that's gone. That leaves us with y equals negative 14 minus 7x. Okay. All right, so the difficulty here is that's going to be off our graph a little bit. But we can imagine, let me extend my graph a little bit, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, you shouldn't run into this problem on Math Excel. So that I put our y-intercept at negative 14. Okay, and then the slope would be this negative 7. So again, that means either down 7, forward 1, or more appropriate in this case would be up 7, because I can't go down much, I'm backwards 1. So I'm going to do that. If I'm at negative 14, I'm going to go up 7, backwards 1 right there. Okay. And this is going to be easier on Math Excel because you guys have straight lines and a lot of mine gets messy pretty quick. But if I go, oh, I'm at the wrong point there. No wonder that doesn't make sense. Okay, go up 7 from 14, which would put us at negative 7, which was at negative 1, negative 7. Okay. Then if I go up 7 again and back 1, that's going to put us right there. So again, up 7, backwards 1 puts us there. Up 7 more, backwards 1 puts us right there. And again, I apologize for the messiness, but it should be easier in Math Excel when you have straight lines in the computer to help you out. But this is definitely one I should check because I want to make sure that it's right. So that point that they cross at would be -2, 0. That should be easy to check because I got a 0 there. So let me erase all this here. Okay. As I'm erasing this, you can kind of think about this in your head, whether or not that -2, 0 would fill those equations there. The equation was y equals -3x minus 6. Y in this case was 0. And then we have -3, and our x was -2. Is that in fact equal to 0? -3 times 2 is 6. Okay, so that does check out. 6 minus 6 is in fact 0. Let's just plug it into the second one just to double check. 7x plus y should equal -14. So 7 and our x was -2, and plus our y, and our y was 0 here. That does in fact equal to -14, so that does check out. Okay, so a couple examples should be enough to get you started on the Math Excel. Just be ready to ask for help in class, and I will help you out in the breakout rooms. Okay, good luck.